this lesson, what I'd like to show you is how to take a really simple and very common chord progression and jazz it up using some Jimi Hendrix style hammer-ons, and also mixing it up with some open string chord shapes. Before we begin, I want to give a tip of the hat to Robert at dolphinstreet.com. I was inspired to do this lesson after watching a couple of his lessons, and it gave me the idea to kind of meld two of the ideas that he covered. So by all means, check out his most excellent lessons here on YouTube or by going to his website at dolphinstreet.com. He's an excellent player, high production quality in his lessons, and you can pick up some really great licks from him. The two lessons that he had that I'm going to kind of put together for you today with a little bit of a twist. The first of those Dolphin Street lessons that again is relevant for today's, and I'll put those links up here scrolling, or at least how to find them, was a Wind Cries Mary sort of Hendrix thing where he was taking the E, B, and A chords, a very simple 1-4-5 or 1-5-4 in this case progression, and adding some Hendrix style hammer-ons. That sort of thing. It's not exactly what he does, but again, in that vein. And then the second lesson he did was taking what many people have called the most common chord progression in popular music, and putting the spin on it of doing the open string chords. That progression is a 1-5-6-4. I like to think of it as the Let It Be progression, because if you're in the key of C, that's the progression. C being your 1, G being your 5, A being your 6, which hopefully you know is your relative minor, so we're playing it as a minor chord, an A minor, which again is the relative minor in the key of C major, to the 4, which is the A. If we take that in the key of E, we have E being the 1, B being the 5, C sharp minor being our 6 minor, and then A being our 4. Robert at Dolphin Street showed that progression using open string chord shapes. Really pretty sounds you can get with those. We're playing the first and second string open on all of these chords, and if you've visited my site here frequently, you've hopefully done my open string chord lesson, which is a year or two old now, but covered these shapes and more. And then going up just 2 frets for that C sharp minor. We're not playing the note that makes it minor because we're playing that second string open, but that's the flavor of it. And then the A, of course, you can just play there. I like to play it here. Our movable E or F shape here, the 5th fret. This is obviously our A shape, which is the same way we played the B and the C sharp minor. And of course we can play our E there too, at the 7th fret, which I think is particularly lovely sounding. So my thought was, what if we took some of these pretty open string chords, add some Hendrix style hammer-ons, some bends, some fills? What would that sound like? And so this is the kind of idea I came up with. get the idea. You're taking your E chord, playing it there, or playing it standard, sliding up, barring your movable A shape there at the 9th fret, which, remember, that's your E chord, right? That's your E, your movable version of that A chord. It's the E version. If you bar it, you've got all those Hendrix style hammer-ons available to you. Losing my voice here. Anything you want. The sky's the limit. Do whatever you want. I'm just throwing anything in there. Come down, play your B there. Slide up. I did for the C sharp minor, I actually went up to the C sharp minor pentatonic scale, which is the same as that E major, because again C sharp minor is our relative minor of E major. So and then I just played the A twice in 2 different places. Open position. Again, keeping those first 2 strings open, and then I played it here. Another way I like to play an A chord. I am fretting the E there at the 5th fret, 2nd string, but you can play it open, fretted. You can do a lot of interesting things with that A chord because, of course, your open strings, your 1st and 6th strings are E's, which are part of an A chord. It's the 5th in an A chord, and if you play your 5th string open, it's an A, which is obviously the root of the A chord. So you can do a lot of open string stuff there. With your A. So just mess around with this. All I did with that bend, that's just a country style bend. I'm bending the 3rd string while barring the 12th fret there with my pinky on the 1st and 2nd strings. It's a real typical country style. Pedal steel style. That was pretty rough, but give you some ideas there. Thanks again to Robert for putting the idea in my head. Hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next time.